Your thoughts?
What? What? Who?
Nice.
It's the 25th day of December right here on RiverBender.com. It's our daily show. CJ Nacello here with you. I hope you guys are having fun opening up presents, getting ready to go to your family's house, and just enjoying this most beautiful day of the year. It's my favorite. We have a fantastic show to get to, and we got to get busy because we got a lot of conversations to talk about today. Coming up first, we're going to be talking to Tom Emery, who has so much really cool information, some history about Christmas in Illinois, how Abraham Lincoln celebrated the holiday, how all of us celebrated the holiday. Also, on top of that, some really cool Christmas trivia about some of your favorite Christmas songs and Christmas stories that have a Illinois connection. So we're going to get that conversation. Then we're going to be talking to Luis Nolla all the way. He's in Puerto Rico with his family, but he said he was calling in today, so I'm going to call him as he's on the island enjoying a beautiful holiday. And we're going to get some insights on the NFL games getting played today and just some fun sports-related business as we're enjoying this Monday morning. And then in the 10 o'clock hour, I'm really excited. It's the last Monday of the month, and it's time for our conversation with Hayner Library. We did it a little differently this time. We did a roundtable excuse me, with not all, but with a few of the directors, the board of directors, some of those individuals. I'm excited for it. And what we decided to do is we're over at the genealogy and local history portion of the library district, and it's beautiful in there. So we had a Donnybrook-esque style roundtable that you're going to hear today. And, you know, it's the first time we've done this, so we had to work on some audio components to it, but I think it sounds pretty good, and the content's fantastic. I can't thank everybody that joined me there enough. Amber, Ed, Kerry, Kevin, and Mary, we did a fantastic job. So all that conversation comes your way in just a few short seconds. But before we do that, I just want to say seriously, thank you for making this such a great year. I have so much to be happy and really just merry about, no pun intended, from my family and everybody being happy, healthy, and really achieving some great work in my family. And then just to be a part of your lives each and every day. And I really thank you for that, because there's no other place I'd rather be. I'm so happy here. And no matter what, you're stuck with me for a little bit longer. Actually, I'd say a while longer, because we're doing some great stuff. And it's all because of your guys' dedication to this show, whether you watch it live or if you watch it on demand. I thank you, and I wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. So let's get to it. Let's keep unwrapping presents and pouring some more glasses of eggnog if you're CJ. Our daily show, Christmas edition, starts now.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. prices you can trust, and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
RiverBender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBender.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ. Like Christmas morning for myself if we didn't talk a little history, because as we're all gathered around opening presents right now, or if you're off to your church service, all the stories that are coming your way, and I figured there's only one person I got to talk to on Christmas morning for all of the history that we need, and that's Tom Emery. Sir, good morning, happy Christmas, and I hope that your Monday's off to a great start.
How you doing, CJ? Merry Christmas, everyone.
And Tom, you have some fantastic articles that you sent over about just the Illinois and Christmas connection and Christmas as a whole. And before we dive all the way into it, for you, how is writing about Christmas history? Is it fascinating to see some of the correlations to how the world celebrated, to how the state of Illinois celebrated and its citizens?
Absolutely. First off, I love Christmas. I love the Christmas season. I love everything about it. So right there, that's something that's very fun for me before I even get going. But reading about the history of Christmas, how people celebrated Christmas in the past, how notable figures such as Abraham Lincoln or other noteworthy Americans or Illinoisans, or just people in the past, how they celebrated. I think you can really learn a lot, learn about us as people, what we did in different eras, and just not only appreciate the culture that we've created in this country, but just literally have fun with it.
Absolutely. And Tom, you put me right in the feels with the first article I wanted to ask you about. And when I was a little child, maybe about 8 or 9 years old, my grandma and grandpa took me and my cousins at the time. I think they were still living in Virginia or maybe just got to Florida. Their dad was a naval officer. And we decided to go to New Salem and really learn about the history there. And this is really fascinating. So take me through Lincoln's time at New Salem and how he might not have been that active during the holiday.
Right, and CJ, we're talking about New Salem, just so people know what we're talking about. Many people visited Lincoln's New Salem in Illinois. It's a log cabin village about 20 miles north of Springfield, where Lincoln was a resident from 1831 to 1837. It's now a great state, I hate to say park, but it's a great state historic site for people to go to. The cabin has all been reconstructed. You might think that Lincoln, we like to think of Lincoln as being quite outgoing. In some ways he was. Lincoln was actually very moody and could be brooding at times, would sticks himself for long periods of time. When he lived in New Salem, I'd like to be able to tell you some really good stories of what he did on Christmas. Frankly, CJ, we don't know a whole lot about what he did. And I'll tell you one reason for this is because Christmas was just not as big of a deal in the 1830s as it is today. Christmas celebrations were just a tiny fraction of what we know today, because now, as you know, we celebrate Christmas pretty much from Halloween on.
Right.
And it saturates the media, it saturates TV. There's Christmas music everywhere, and I love this, so I have no gripe with it, but it's still there. Christmas is really a blip on the radar in most areas in the 1830s. You would find scattered references to Christmas in newspapers with just a handful of ads. And I'm going to say this, when you research papers like I do, thank goodness for the search engines, because you wouldn't find Christmas hardly any place else unless you had a microscope. It's around, but, people celebrate it in very small pockets. So Lincoln, for much of his career, Christmas was actually a working holiday. For some of the time he was at New Salem, he was in the state legislature. He spent it in Vandalia, our former state capital. And we're talking just before we went on the air, as president, it was a working holiday. He'd actually have meetings and write letters. He might have a nice dinner, spend some time with family. But he was certainly would have been aware of Christmas. Lincoln knew exactly what was going on in the world. I can't believe people to this day think he's some type of country bumpkin. Lincoln was a brilliant, shrewd man. But
Tom,
it was a working holiday.
Not to cut you off, Tom, but you know what's fascinating is that's exactly what I thought. Because when I was a kid learning about Lincoln in school, I thought, well, yeah, this was some guy that won a wrestling match in New Salem against the town bully, or how this was it New Salem?
Yes, it was. Yes, sir.
And I just pictured him as this, kind of country wholesome man until I really just started doing a little bit more, peeking into it. And you're absolutely, just to hear about the ingenuity in the brain of Abraham Lincoln. I mean, he was it fascinates me that someone could be so connected with the limited access of technology at the time.
Absolutely. And CJ, you're not alone. A lot of people still have that image of Lincoln because the media and very mediocre history books and teaching in certain schools has created that image. It's unfortunate because Lincoln had such brilliance, such intellect, in a very self-styled, self-made way. He would have been acutely aware of Christmas going on. He just chose not to celebrate it. But again, he was not alone. Many people at the time chose the same thing, not to celebrate. It just was not that big of a deal.
Wow. And so in New Salem, was it just one of those things? Did everyone take it as a working holiday, even before he became president, or was just spending time there?
He would have. A lot of people did because when he had large families, it took such effort just to keep a cabin going between wood and cooking and everything. Back in those days, if for more urban, or I hate to use the word refined areas, I don't like to say that because we're talking about rural areas, and I really don't like to use that word. But people exchange small gifts. They might have a nice dinner, but that was about it. Most places didn't have Christmas trees. That didn't come in really in this country really for some decades. It was a holiday, but it was people would celebrate parts of it, and that would be about it. We're like now we take the whole day, take the whole week, whatever. back then it was maybe nice dinner, small gifts, some receiving of friends, things like that.
Really fascinating. And, Tom, as we kind of keep moving down the gauntlet here, just trickling into the Civil War, I didn't realize that the Civil War spanned a total of 4 holidays. I just never really put that connection together. So when the war's over and people finally got to really celebrate the holiday, did this become more of a big deal?
I think it can be a somewhat bigger deal. It was different than in the 1860s as it was in the 1830s. It was starting to evolve. One of the things that people did in the 1860s, and they were certainly happy to do this at Christmas 1865 because the war had been over for several months, but dances were a big part of Christmas. If you wanted to cut a rug someplace, there were plenty of places for you to do it.
Nice.
A lot of places, I can't dance, so I don't do that.
I'm like Steve Martin in The Jerk, Tom. I really am.
Well, that's a good one. But firehouses would have a ball. Civic or fraternal organizations would have balls or dances. That was a big thing. And here's a good trivia question for you, CJ. Food was obviously very important. The dinner, just like it is in many cases today, was a central part of Christmas. Turkey, duck, and goose were on the menu. But let's give the audience a few seconds to think about what was one of the biggest dishes for Christmas or holidays at that time.
Ooh, Tom, I would have to go with some type of roasted pig.
That's a pretty good guess. Oysters.
Really?
Oysters were a delicacy at holiday time through the 19th century. You'd read those advertisements, and this is up into the 1900s. The grocers would advertise oysters for the holiday and put it in big bold letters, or like it was really something that had oysters. That was a big thing.
Wow! And now, on that same article, Tom, because I'm going through it with you, I'm seeing just some of the advertisements. I mean, I love the Tribune on this. Serpent's eggs. Is that the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that serpent thing is. As a historian, I've seen it all. But when I came across that, this was a 1865 advertisement in the Chicago Tribune. A local department store promoted something new for the holidays: serpent's eggs. And there may be people out there listening today that are better qualified to talk about this than I am. But apparently, with this, consumers could place an egg on a plate, and I'm quoting it here, and ignite it with a match, and a beautiful serpent will appear and run around the plate. I don't know what that means, but I'm not sure I'd want to see that. I
don't know if I would either. It kind of reminds me of one of those gross-looking fireworks, that
Hey, Merry Christmas to you. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to give the impression you wanted it to if you bring that over to your in-laws' dinner table, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, unless you don't like them, you can bring that and then kind of get them back at you. But, but no, but many of these things, greenery was a deal. They had people didn't always put Christmas trees, but they would have swags of greenery. That was important. I tell you another two popular gifts of the time in the 1800s, way up in the 1900s, stationery. That was a big deal. Give someone stationery, particularly for ladies. Give someone stationery. Notions was a popular phrase at the time. That would be paper goods, that type of thing. Another popular gift selection, ladies' handkerchiefs.
Really?
That was just a universal thing. All the stores I advertised, they had ladies' handkerchiefs. That was a very popular selection. And people give books. That was another thing. We like to think of Americans as not being particularly literate in the 19th century. That's not really true. Americans did have a hunger for reading, even though many people could not read. Books were very sought after, and books are a very popular Christmas gift. Bible and others.
I also saw in the article, Tom, that you actually were able to find something from the Alton Telegraph about writing desks of all sizes, along with some of the stationery you were just talking about. And what I think's cool about this one is the fact that colored photographs is in quotes.
Yes. Colored photographs. The hand tinning was done at the time.
Okay.
There was still some rudimentary color photos. There was actually some color photos. This is completely off the subject, but the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, and this was circulated about 10, 15 years ago, color photos of the damage of the San Francisco earthquake from 1906. It was around, and in very rare cases, color footage and video was around. Wow. Again, very rare, color home-style movies. But colored photos, yeah, and in many cases they were hand-tinted.
Wow. And Tom, how big was, I can only imagine, this is kind of an obvious question, but I'm just assuming that church was really prevalent in this time as well, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. And particularly the late 1800s, early 1900s went on, it was very prominent. Many places would have, as they do today, that is one of the things that is similar to the Christmases of long ago today. The church services were a big part of what they did because church had a more Christmas had a more evangelical feel, where today it's more informal and relaxed. Back then, the people saw the deeper meaning in the holiday, and as Christianity was much more prevalent in the 1800s as it is now, I think that reflects that as well.
Absolutely. And Tom, when, and I don't have the article in front of me, but when did the country and really just, Illinois or the country as a whole really start to shift their focus from the New Year holiday to making Christmas that kind of major cornerstone?
I think in the early 1900s would be when I would say that, and I'm glad you brought that up, because for much of the 1800s, New Year's Day was a bigger deal than Christmas Day. That would be a situation, many situations, prominent people would have big dinners, welcome friends, have open houses. We talked about President Lincoln a few minutes ago. The White House New Year's reception was a humongous deal.
Really?
When people would line up, and there might be hundreds or thousands even of people. There might be a couple thousand people come through the White House on New Year's Day, for example. And the president had to stand and shake every hand, which I'm sure his hand felt really good at the end of the day after doing that. But New Year's Day was a bigger deal in this country for a long time than Christmas Day was. And sometimes people would get kind of nasty with that. As many of the early holidays, CJ, there were an element of people that were much more violent. They might go out and shoot guns, tear stuff up, beat people up. That was it could get kind of nasty times. Halloween was particularly bad for that. But there are cases of people shooting guns and popping off firecrackers, and I don't mean in a nice way. The holiday, particularly New Year's.
Wow. I mean, to me, it's so fascinating to hear all of that. And also, Tom, that's one of the hard parts of the job. They never tell you when you get sworn in as president. You got to sit there and shake the hands.
Oh, yeah. And I tell you what's interesting back then is the White House and the president were so much, much more accessible. You, me, or anyone else could just walk in and request an interview with the president.
So I heard this on a History Channel documentary, and I thought it was just little fugazi. I didn't really believe it, but that's really the case.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely was. And this, again, CJ, I'm straying here, but President Garfield's assassin, Charles Guiteau, who was a disgruntled office seeker, had been in the White House many times, hitting the president or the administration up for a patronage job. In fact, he actually wrote some notes on White House stationery he picked up in the White House. Any citizen could get, almost any citizen could get in and just see the president. That is unheard of today. But now, but back then, the idea of how many people coming through and how all these visitors, people walking around the White House, that happened.
That is just, I guess, like you said, I can't even correlate that into my head or my brain to even wrap around that concept of having almost like you said, an open house format, really.
Right.
It's just so fascinating. And Tom, as we keep moving, because I know that we got to keep the conversation going here, and I could spend just 40 minutes on one of these articles because of how detailed they are. I want to ask you about something that I found so fascinating, and that's It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas. We all know this song, but a Brighton connection?
Yes, sir. That song was written in 1951 by Meredith Willson, who was a top composer in the United States in the mid-20th century. Meredith Willson is best known for composing The Music Man, a Broadway hit that became the beloved movie version. And most people remember, the Trouble Friends right here in River City.
Yeah.
Wilson composed TV programs, among other things. He writes the song "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas" in 1951, which was quickly recorded by Perry Como and Bing Crosby, and still hits the pop charts today.
Wow.
And his claim to fame, as far as Brighton is concerned, his mother had grown up and was married in Brighton. She later accepted a teaching job in Mason City, Iowa, where he was born. He spent summers with his grandmother in Brighton as a youth. So he was back in Brighton quite often.
This is so cool, Tom. I'm going down here right now and seeing that he was one of his movie scores, The Little Foxes, was nominated for an Oscar. But the big thing, you and I, for Glenn Miller, that's huge.
Oh, Glenn Miller, absolutely. I've heard that one out of every three songs on a jukebox in the early 1940s belonged to Glenn Miller. And kind of a sad thing with that, too, CJ. Miller's plane, and people know that Miller's killed in a plane crash over the English Channel during World War II service. He went down on December 15th because of the mandatory 10-day wait. That became official and the notifications went out on Christmas Day, 1944.
Wow. Well, and Tom, with that being said, whenever, the likes of a Bing Crosby or a Perry Como, or, they're recording the song, at the time were songwriters' rights protected as they are today, or did he receive a lot of credit for that?
Well, that one, CJ, is probably over my head. I wouldn't want to talk about. I wouldn't want to comment because I don't want to make a fool out of myself. That's why I say that. Or I make a fool out of you. I don't want the FCC to come and shut us down. Yeah. I say something wrong here. But most people credit Wilson with it, and I don't think there's much doubt of that. So he got quite a bit of the credit. Now, how much money he made off it, that I couldn't say. But a lot of people did make a lot of money off that song because it's one of the most popular modern Christmas songs.
Well, 100%. And on top of that, are there any correlations from what is in the song? Because, just hearing the lyrics like a grand hotel and all these little geographical kind of just points in the lyrics, did any of that tie into Brighton or any place that he lived in the state?
There's a lot of debate as to what those lines that song came from. Some people say that the Grand Hotel was somewhere in Nova Scotia, one of the Canadian Maritime provinces, where he was staying at the time. There's the tree in the Grand Hotel, one in the park as well. Take a look at the 5 and 10. Those lines may have come from this particular locale in Nova Scotia. Some people say the Grand Hotel came from Mason City. It's been debated greatly, CJ, and I guess Wilson never really talked. I don't know if he played coy or just never wanted to talk about it, but we don't know the answers. We do know that Brighton showed up in the the word Brighton showed up as a cameo in the 1962 movie adaptation of The Music Man, which introduced millions and millions of people to the name of Brighton.
Wow. This is so fascinating. I mean, I can just sit here all day long, Tom. I really could, because to me, I think it's so important to learn about some of this and realize just how rich this area's history is. And as we keep going here, as we have about 10 minutes left, I want to make sure we get some points out of all of it. You have, to me, one of the best lead-in lines, and I'm not an author, so I don't know what you would call this line, but I love this. Think Rudolph is a funny name for a reindeer? It could have been Reginald, Rollo, or Rodney. I like Rudolph better, Tom.
Hey, well, I do too, and thank you for sending that, CJ, because I was worried about the opening of my article, so thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
It was great. So fill me in. Was this written by an Illinois man?
Yes, it was. It was written by Robert May, who'd been an executive with the Montgomery Ward department chain. May was kind of down on his luck at the time. He had come from a wealthy family who'd lost most of their money in the Great Depression. His wife was ill at the time. At the time, Montgomery Ward produced annual storybooks. The idea of Rudolph originates as a storybook in 1939, and the original Rudolph, the storybook, which sold like hotcakes at the time, was very different than Rudolph we know today. Rudolph was not so many of the features were different than the cute song and the Rankin Bass show that we all love today. But it was written by Robert May, who died in 1976, I believe. He's buried in River Grove, Illinois, and was in Chicago.
Wow. It's just amazing to me, Tom, that there's so much just rich tidbits too. And I mean, just to be able to learn about this today has been a big treat. But I want to end on something that I think, for the older audience, especially, my grandmother and some other folks might have some slight memories of it if they were, 9 or 10 years old. And if you have it in front of you, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you wrote a fantastic article about World War II and troops, spending Christmas literally in a field.
Yeah. Throughout our history, American wars, troops have really struggled at Christmas time because not only just because of winter weather, depending on where they're at, they're hundreds, thousands, possibly miles away from home, living in lousy conditions, eating bad food, being fired on. Security is a constant issue for them. So for troops in World War II or any other time, Christmas, they tried to get whatever they could out of it. They might have a celebration, almost like do some type of dress-up thing, comic thing, sing some songs, talk about letters, talk about home. It's a very sad time. Christmas is a very sad time in wartime, whether you're in the field or at home. And certainly for those in the field, they struggle greatly.
Absolutely. And I saw this in 1942 in this article. I mean, just like you said, American forces launched an attack on the Japanese airbase of Munda. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, on Christmas Eve, 1942, only to get ready for a follow-up the following day during the Christmas holiday. And, I just, even in today's climate, as with all of this happening in the Middle East, I just never really put myself in that position, Tom, to think, all the little nuances of life that make us happy, like a Christmas holiday and all of that, we take for granted each and every day.
And so many of those men, again, in all wars, a lot of those men are 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. I think that adds a different feature to it. If you think about what were you doing when you were 18, or what was I doing when I was 18 or 19, or what anyone listening may be thinking the same thing. These are very young men. And also women in some cases as well. I certainly don't want to forget that, all the wonderful contributions that women have made to the military. But
absolutely,
their youth and all they've left behind, all they're doing, there's just so much goes into Christmas at wartime.
100%. And on top of that, too, and Tom, like I said, if I'm putting you on the spot, please let me know. But at this time, was this a point where, men are fighting overseas in World War II and the factories are producing supplies for wartime? Is that the big push at this point in the fight in 1941?
Yeah, a lot of companies and a lot of the manufacturing industry on the whole are starting to go over to wartime production. And we like to think of the image of Rosie the Riveter when women took over factories. women played a key role in the home front in World War II, as they do in all wars, but certainly more hands-on in World War II, because just what you said, the manufacturing capability, the industrial might of America is changing over to war material. So that was a big thing.
And Tom, before I let you go, because we've talked about a lot, and I really appreciate your time this morning, and appreciate it all the time. I was reading an article, and I think it was Christmas in 1835, or right around. It was an article based on the early 1830s. And if you don't have it in front of you, it's fine. I just remembered this and thought, man, I wish I would have grabbed that quote. The term "Happy Holidays." For Americans, because when I was in Europe, the holiday just meant a vacation. It seemed like. And in London it did too, but in America, the term "Happy Holiday," was that in an Illinois newspaper ad?
It may have been. There's some debate on that. Saying "Happy Christmas," which you still hear it sometimes today, that tends to be more of a British, more of a colloquial term, of an older term. In fact, in the classic poem "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," think about what Santa says: "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
Yep.
Yeah, that tends to be an older phrase.
That is so fascinating. And Tom, thank you so much for always, and throughout the year, always being willing to give us your knowledge on topics. And every time you come on, it's a real big treat for us. And I know that you have a lot of projects that you work on and that you're a part of. So for you to give us your time this past year and hopefully next year, I really greatly appreciate it. And Merry Christmas. Have a great New Year. And you're always welcome here on this show.
Thank you, CJ. And I speak for a lot of people. I say you do a tremendous job on RiverBender Radio. It's always great to be on the air, and I'm always happy to have me. I'm happy to be here whenever you want me.
Thank you very much, sir. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone.
We'll take a quick break in your Christmas morning. We'll continue, as will mine, right after a brief break right here in the heart of the 618. When life throws unexpected challenges your way, you need a versatile legal ally to protect you. Sean Lentz, with over 12 years of experience, is here to help you in a variety of avenues. From personal injury to criminal defense and even semi-truck accidents, Sean Lentz has your back. Don't wait for the justice that you deserve. Call 618-465-8000 and see how Sean can help you today.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
Is it time to buy, sell, or even time to consider a short sale of your property? Meet Lisa Webb, owner of 3rd Street Realty. This local, women-owned, family-operated realty group has over a decade of experience in foreclosures, first-time home buying, and so much more. 3rd Street Realty prides themselves on holding your hand through the entire process. Let their expertise guide you to your dream home. Visit 3rdstrealty.com and start your journey with Lisa Webb today.
Welcome to Evergreen Place, a community that embodies joyful living, independence, and financial freedom for seniors. If you're looking for a full day of activities or to relax in your apartment, we have you covered. Located on the Alton Memorial Campus. To know us is to love us. Experience the difference at Evergreen Place.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Santa, tell me if you're really there. Don't make me fall in love.
It would not be a Christmas without talking to a family member of the show. Hell, with friends of the show. We got family of the show. Luis Nolla on the line and enjoying the Christmas Monday. How are we doing, sir?
You're doing good. Merry Christmas to you, C, and your family, and Merry Christmas to everybody that is listening to us on this wonderful day.
So did I tell you, and this is for real, I forgot to tell you on the phone last night when we were talking, I had somebody that was watching they were watching one of the Blues post games. I forgot which one. You were there. They go, "Is that your sports guy?" I go, "Yes, that's Luis."
Here's the thing, like, again, I only got a few of these on you on video only. Most of them are on the phone. It's amazing that people recognize, they know who I am. They know which the radio station I work in town, so it's not easy. It's not hard to find, right? Again, sometimes the cameras just sometimes here's the thing, DJ. Here's a little secret. Sometimes the cameraman just knows where I'm at.
It's true. Well, it's just so cool, man, because sometimes, especially when the Cardinals are playing, when we're the gang and I are sitting at Cats, and I'm sitting there talking with Judy. We were sitting there, and then there's you and there's Solomon. It's just fun stuff. But anyway, coming up on Christmas, a lot of really good opportunities to kind of just hang out with the family, watch some sports. And I know that for the first time in a while, the NFL is going to be on Christmas again, huh?
Yeah, again, I'm trying to figure out right now when was the last time. It's been a while. Again, it's every 7 years, because again, every 7 years Christmas is either on a Sunday or a Monday. So we will get NFL, and it's not only the Monday night game. We got free matchups, CJ. Like again, the NFL is making this a day.
That's what's fun about this, because I mean, you already have all the family around. You might as well add 1 or 2 more games to this and make it a day. Yes. Again,
the first matchup will be in Arrowhead in Kansas City, Missouri. The Kansas City Chiefs face off against the Las Vegas Raiders at 12 p.m. Then the next game is New York versus Philadelphia in Philadelphia at 3:30. And then to wrap it all up, I think it's the game of it might be one of the games of the year, too, because it might be a Super Bowl preview between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers.
That'll be fun to watch. Now, who has the chance to clinch? The 49ers have the chance to clinch, correct?
Yes, the 49ers have a chance to clinch. Philadelphia doesn't have a chance to clinch just yet. If they win, it gets easier. And then Kansas City, it's just struggling to keep on being Kansas City. Can we talk about, I truly believe it's the curse of Taylor Swift. I really do. It's the Swift curse. It seems like both brothers are struggling here. Not both the brothers, but both teams are struggling. Well, here's the thing. For their expectations, yes, they are struggling, right?
Right.
One team, the Chiefs, if they win this week on Monday, they get 10 wins. Philadelphia, it's already has a wild card, or it's already in the playoffs where they're fighting for their divisional lives right here with the East, right? And they got 10 wins, right? 10-4 season, 10-4 the Eagles, 9-5 season for the Chiefs. Now, here's the other thing. It's not only the Taylor Swift, it's the component of distractions, right? So you got Jalen Hurts, quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, saying there's some teammates that are not fully focused, right, on this Eagles team. And then you wonder, the biggest and most famous distraction is not Taylor Swift, it's the podcast Travis and Jason Kelsey do each week.
So I didn't realize that this damn thing is running during the season. I thought just common sense approach, you'd be doing it in the off season. I'm sure it makes.
They sometimes run like when they have like a special guest during the summer. They do it in the summer, but it's like the daily one, the weekly ones are during the season.
It just, I don't know if I like that. If I'm a teammate of somebody and, maybe things aren't going the best that they could have gone, especially then, because when things are going good, you aren't going to say anything. But when things aren't going the best and you got, here's, Travis or here's whoever, Jason, whatever the hell, they're talking on their podcast and they're talking about NFL stuff and they're talking about games. How about you get to practice, or how about you call the team and let's figure out how we get back on track here?
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. I don't know when they do the podcast. At what time? Again, do they do it early in the morning? Do they do it late at night? When do they do it? I don't know, right?
Right.
But, and the NFL, it's one of those sports that even getting the playbook and seeing the playbook on the iPad throughout the day, it's not that bad because, again, you're still learning and getting a lot of, seeing video. Again, there's famous stories about Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and doing their both respective teams just ingesting a lot of video and staying into the complex until like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. each day.
Right. Well, and that's, to me, that's just kind of my thought on it. It's fun, and yeah, it's cute. It's a cute podcast. You got the name recognition, so they throw the sponsor dollar out there. But I don't know. It just is a little weird. That's just my thing. It just seems weird, a little off.
Yeah, again, yeah, it's. But here's the other thing. And look, it's only in the NFL. NBA has a lot of players that have their own podcast throughout the season. I think the most famous one right now is Draymond Green.
Okay. Well, and maybe I just am not a fan of that. But again, if you have extracurriculars, do them as long as, I guess, the objective of your contract and the team is being met. Hey, what about Bill Belichick? So he's definitely leaving the Patriots. I think that's all but shored up, correct?
Depends who you trust, right? There has been a report that's that's not confirmed from anybody from the insiders that cover the NFL. But the report said that Bill Belichick will be fired after the end of the season. I don't really trust that report because it's just only one rogue report out there.
Did it just gain traction? Is that what it is? Just gain traction?
Gain traction because it's Bill Belichick and the Patriots, right?
Right.
But nothing. It's just traction. It's not like, hey, sources confirmed. No. It's so. I believe. Here's the thing too. But that sparks a conversation. What are the Patriots doing? Because yes, they're honoring the legacy of Bill Belichick and whatever, and the guru and whatever, and da. But here's the thing, CA. Tom Brady left not because Tom Brady wanted to leave the Patriots. Bill Belichick wasn't drafting the players Tom Brady needed. If you see that last Tom Brady Patriots team that barely got to the playoffs, he had no offensive weapons. None.
Well, no, and anyone that's been a Patriots fan, and there was a lot of people that were Patriots fans just because of how great the team was, all of that infrastructure was gone. I mean, it was just dismantled, it seemed like, and then they try to, draft these guys that just have no business being on that team at the time.
Yeah, and then Tom Brady just said, hey, if you're not going to commit for drafting weapons or trading for weapons or whatever, I'm gone. And he went to Tampa Bay and won Super Bowl there. So that's the story there. And then following that, the Patriots haven't been in the playoffs, right? So it's and then this year, it's odd to see in the AFC West that one of the two teams eliminated right now is the Jets and the Patriots.
Wow.
Patriots have 3 wins. And yes, there was a time where the Patriots were awful too. We don't remember this, but in St. Louis, the Patriots owner at the time threatened to move the team if he didn't get a stadium to St. Louis. And that's way before the Rams. So the Patriots were god awful to the point that they were looking for relocation. But it's a historically bad season. Again, it also puts in context that the 20-plus year run that the Patriots had will probably never be done, never again.
No, I 100% agree with you. And with that being said, Luis, wanted to kind of circle back to this that I saw the other day, and then we'll talk about some Blue stuff, and then we'll talk NBA. The Cardinals are still among the favorites to sign Jordan Montgomery. And what are your thoughts on this? I mean, St. Louis entered with about a 300 plus, odds, a 25% chance of being in favor to reunite with, I guess now the World Series champion. I think it's a smart move if you can get him back. I thought he was impressive. I loved him. I'm a fan.
And that speaks to the whole notion that the offseason is still not over, right? And if the Cardinals like somebody, they will try to get it. And here's the thing, too. And it's a good play because Montgomery had a 3.20 ERA with a 166 strikeouts and just 48 walks. That's good. And then his batting average against was only 247 average, and with a whip, and he pitched 188 2/3 of an inning. Again, 30 years old. If he's looking for, he's not looking for a mega deal that in years, right? He's looking for maybe 4 years, and then all the mega deal with the money. One of the things that is a good news for the Cardinals is that last week, it got reported that Bally's the Cardinals are expecting Bally's to pay the Cardinals in full for this season too. So there's not going to be no like money shortage that what happened in San Diego, that they had to take out a loan to make payroll.
Oh my God! Whoa! When did that happen?
Wait! You didn't know that with the Padres taking out a loan?
No.
So so San Diego Padres, and that's one of the reasons they're unloading. Right? They have traded away their big time superstars, and didn't even try to re-sign their pitching prospects and whatever loan. So I'm just looking at the story. Yeah, Padres to pay. So here's the story. The Padres took out a loan about $50 million in September to cover obligations, including player payroll, according to The Athletic.
What?
And I believe they first said they needed more than $50 million, and the bank said we can only get you 50.
Oh my God! But it's amazing though that, in all seriousness, how much a media deal can affect a team.
Because it's not the years, right? It's the years, right? All these media deals are 10, 15, maybe some of them are closer to 20 years in advance. So that's why you get the magic number of a whatever $1 billion is the deal. Again, in full, yes, that's the deal. I'm gonna research right now. And you might wonder how long is the Cardinals media deal with Bally's? And remember, that Bally's deal was signed whenever it was still Fox Sports.
Yeah, it was Fox Sports Midwest, wasn't it?
Yeah. So if I see right, contract. So they scored in 2015 a $1 billion deal with then Fox Sports Midwest, now Bally Sports Midwest, that's worth an excess of $1 billion and extends their deal until 20. Let me see here. I'm just scrolling here like a madman.
Oh, no, you're good.
Well, here's the thing. It's over 15 years, and that was signed in 2015.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just amazing to me, though, that, I mean, the turmoil of a media company in Bally's, I mean, everyone knows that is just an absolute nightmare. And it's just fascinating to know, though, how what those implications are if that deal's not met. I mean, think about it. I mean, if that happened to where, let's just say the Padres, it would have never happened. I'm not saying it would have. But if they would have defaulted or couldn't even have secured a loan, you would have had a massive problem on your hands.
Well, yeah, you got an MLB team not being able to pay their players. That's the problem right there. But it's because that money went away. And the Padres, remember, they switched from Bally's to MLB Productions in the middle of the season because Bally's didn't make their first payment and didn't make their second. And when they didn't make their third payment, not only Arizona, San Diego, but also Arizona said, because the same happened to Arizona, it said basically, we're done. We're done with you. We're not going to do Bally's. We're going to strike a deal with one of the local TV channels so their games are over the air. And MLB will handle our productions. And with the Cardinals, just to be correct, the deal started in 2018, and it runs through the 2032 season, with the final year payment being around $86 million. So it escalates gradually. Because the first year was $50 million, and it will grow in a single-digit annual escalator. So that's where the final growth number is $86 million in 2032, if it happens. Now, there's rumors and reports from all these sports media websites that Amazon might be trying to save Bally, so there might be a saving grace. And if that happens, well, now everybody that has Prime may have the ability to watch Cardinal games and Blues games.
Now this is where because I saw the same thing. As a front office guy, if you're the operations person, we aren't talking baseball here, but if you're making that deal, I'm really hesitant because you got to expect that you're going to lose a good portion of anyone who doesn't use Amazon Prime, and that's kind of scary.
Well, yes, it will still, again, you still have to pay for the service, right? But it's like cable. If you pay for the service, you get Bally's, right?
Right. But 70-year-olds don't know that. You know that.
No, it's true. I know. I agree. Our grandparents will have a little bit of trouble, or if not, they'll say if the game's on ESPN or Fox or TBS, I ain't watching.
I'm just surprised it hasn't gone back to local channels yet.
Again, yeah, but because there's still a contract. And again,
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And here's the thing, Bally's will never, again, whenever Bally's is done, if they're done, the last franchise they will stop paying is the Cardinals because Bally's Midwest as a whole makes a lot of money because of the Cardinals.
Wow.
Other franchises, again, you think, well, because the Yankees have their own network.
Yeah.
The Red Sox have their own network with Nesson, right? So they are not owned by Bally's.
Right.
So, and I'm just reading right now with the reports is that the Wall Street Journal reported Monday that Amazon and Diamond are in active negotiations on a multi-year streaming partnership that will see Amazon purchase as yet undetermined stake in the now bankrupt company and eventually becoming the streaming home of its properties. And if I'm the Cardinals, at least I can sell to my people. If you live either in St. Louis or in Sedalia, Missouri, if you're in Iowa, for the first time in a long time, you can stream the Cardinals in your system because I will presume that the blackouts will be wiped out too.
Now, on top of that, though, here's my thought on it too: is if you have all those options, it's going to be very interesting if it goes to digital streaming because you can actually see the data there. Who's actually the most watched team, and it wouldn't be based on network reach or anything like that. It would just be based on interest.
Yes, and that will be in that. So. If that deal is struck and the Cardinals can say, without a doubt, we're the most streamed baseball team in the MLB.
Yeah.
That happens.
100%. And now let's before we move on to NBA because I want to keep moving here. Braves. Matt Carpenter has not had a good year. Last good few years. Dropped from this roster after a trade, and I knew they were trying to trade him off. They had a report out that he wasn't going to stay around long. But I mean, he's owed $5.5 million. Is it really that much money?
For most teams, $5.5 million is just walking cash. So I think there will be no problems getting the payments to Matt Carpenter, right?
Right.
I think the story is that this might be the end for Matt Carpenter as a baseball player.
You don't see the Cardinals calling him and saying, "Hey, do you want to be a bench or a player coach for the last year?"
Hell will freeze over if that happens, CJ.
What happened with it? What happened?
It's again player coach. If he was a bench coach, well, yes, I can live by that. But there's a reason why Carpenter got traded to the Braves, and the Braves, knowingly that Carpenter wasn't going to stay, tried to trade him again to somebody else. And nobody for the 28 teams said, I want Carpenter.
That's true.
So that tells me that his playing career, when 28 teams says, yeah, no thank you, that's a sign.
And his salsa was terrible.
Okay, you know what? The product that they put on the shelves in Chinooks was not good.
No.
I tasted the real thing.
No way. No kidding.
Yes. Early on, it was probably my first or second full season. And Polo Ascension and Benji Molina sometimes did like a live Facebook live show from the field, and they had Matt Carpenter on because of the salsa. And then I remember just me lingering around, and then Paul saw me, hey, come here. It's like, okay, what do you need? It's like, taste this. It's like, not bad, not bad.
There you go. Hey, Luis, well, at least Matt Carpenter used those tortilla chips to dry his tears. On Christmas Monday, we have some games starting. One starts literally right when the show gets off the air. The Bucks and the Knicks kick off the morning at 11 a.m. Following that, the Warriors, Nuggets, Celtics, Lakers, and then you got the 76ers, the Heat, Mavericks, and Suns. What game are you watching?
If I had a choice, all of them, because unlike the NFL, the one game I want to watch in the NFL is that Monday night game. The NBA does it right. The NBA stacks there. Again, that's a stack lineup for the whole day. So you can have, again, if you're blessed enough that you can have two TVs on at the same time, just put one on ESPN, and then when ABC Monday Night Football comes in, we'll put the second one there too. But if I have a choice until Monday Night Football, I'll just be watching NBA.
There you go.
Great matchups again. I like the tradition. Every Christmas Day, starting with a game in Madison Square Garden. It doesn't matter how bad the Knicks are. The Knicks are guaranteed a Christmas Day game.
Well, and that's the thing, and I really like this because I've told you before, I'm not the most affluent NBA fan. I don't even consider myself a casual fan of the NBA. I'm a college basketball person myself. But the fact of the matter is there's so many families that are going to be gathered around a television, and for them to have professional sports, it goes hand in hand with family events. And this is really cool. Now, I want to ask more about the Celtics-Lakers game. The reason being is the Lakers just debuted this banner, and I watched the video of the unveiling, and I think it's cool that you have in-season tournaments or whatever the hell you're doing, but I thought it was a weak banner. I mean, it just was weak.
I heard reports that that David Stern had to call the Lakers, like, okay, so are you guys gonna put up a banner? Gonna do a little ceremony before the game here? And they had to twist the Lakers' arms, like, if you want this, we'll do it, right? It might be the one time that you can report, and they were, because remember, banners raised, there's people crying of joy and happiness. This might be the first banner raise in all time that it's like, and all the tears were dry. There were no tears with this banner celebration.
Well, like I said, I think it's cool. I like the, you know what? I think it's great that the NBA is innovative in the way that they try new things. I think it's fun. I think it's a good way to do it. I saw the banner and I was very underwhelmed. I went, wow, this is the damn banner that everyone's been talking about. It's a week.
There's some people like Lakers legend and NBA Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal that doesn't like even the idea of the Lakers raising a banner for the in-season tournament.
Yeah.
And if you're going to raise a banner, why are you putting it so close to the championship banners? Because his logic is that it's not the same color, right? It's not. So all the championship banners for the NBA Finals wins for the Lakers are gold, right? Because again, the team's name, team's color scheme. This one was black with just and here's the thing. I don't know how, again, and it here's the other thing. Like, there's another, again, if the Celtics would have won this, we'll be having the same conversation because they have all these banners in the rafters too.
Right.
Again, but if a team like Indiana would have won, right?
That's a big deal.
There were people saying they should have a parade around the stadium that day too. Well, not a big parade, like 5 cars or something, just 4 hours before the game. But yeah, for them, yeah, let's celebrate this. We need happiness here. Yes, this just happens to be one of the most legendary and most accomplished franchises in NBA, and not only NBA, in sports history. Just won the first ever in-season tournament. I would have been, again, here's the thing. Here's my homework that I got to give myself. And I want to see if there was reaction whenever the first soccer team won the first Champions League game or Champions League tournament, right? Probably was the same thing. Okay, it's nice, it's a trophy.
Well,
but it's not the league.
Well, here's the thing, though. The UEFA Champions League means something because you're playing across multiple continents, across every division of pro soccer. And that's where the argument for this is more of an FA Cup thing, but it's really not. Now, if the Lakers had to play, the semi-pro teams and they were a part of it too, I could see that. But that's where I'm kind of just I don't fully understand this because it's not really a Champions League-esque style because you're playing, Champions League, you're everywhere. You're playing in Portugal, to Spain. It's all these countries' best club teams coming together. For this, it's just an in-season tournament.
Yes, true. And I'm just reading now. Again, and here's the thing too. It's like, of course they did, right? So I just researched who won the first UEFA Champions League title, right? And of course it's Real Madrid,
right?
1955, 1956. So one of the things I want to see was what was the reaction? What was the people talking about? Were the reporters, the pundits at that time saying about this? Because again, the first tournament was 16 teams, all via invitation, so it was a smaller field. At least the NBA incorporated the whole league in this. So it was again with group stages and then a knockout stage and then a neutral site final in Las Vegas.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. And I understand your correlation now. That's a perfect correlation because the first time you do it, it's not the Champions League. And that makes perfect sense. Hey, Luis, before I let you go, because I know you're busy, what are you and the family doing on the island this Christmas morning?
Before I say that, I'm just going to say this. For the first 5 years of the Champions League, it was probably known as the Real Madrid Invitational because they won the first 5.
Yeah, they didn't stop for a while. I don't think Manchester United didn't win one until the 70s. But it's a really, the UEFA Champions League has a history that's really bizarre. And so does the World Cup, really. It's a really interesting history and how it was kind of played and the way it was. It's really all that stuff's fascinating.
Yes, and again, and Manchester United won for the first time in 1999.
Really? It was the Sir Alex Ferguson year. I thought Charlton won one. Oh, that's interesting. That's actually cool. I didn't know that today. That's good stuff. I'm a big Sir Alex Ferguson fan. That's awesome. Hey, man, before I let you go, what are you guys doing today over there with your family? I think it's great that it's really cool to hear different insights because I'm sure you don't have the same, you guys don't have the same traditional meals that we have here like you have in Puerto Rico, and I'm sure they're 10 times better, to be honest with you.
Probably, yeah. That's too. Okay, you said it, not me, but I have to agree with you. But yes, right now we're in the process of opening gifts, just a little intimate family gathering here. Christmas music playing around, dogs are barking, they're playing with the wrapping paper. Again, we give our pets toys for Christmas and there's their gift or whatever, and they're more interested in the wrapping paper, CJ. Yep. It's amazing. Just give them wrapping paper next year. So we're doing that. We're preparing to, again, we have a little tradition, like we watch Elf, Christmas, the movie Elf as a family. And then we just, after that, get together, clean the house, and then we're going to go to our dad's side of the family too, because they're doing the afternoon and evening festivities.
That's really cool, man. Well, I really appreciate all the stuff that you do for me throughout the year, and really cool to hear from you on Christmas. Merry Christmas from all of us, and we'll talk soon.
We'll talk soon. We'll talk, if not before the new year, after the new year. Merry Christmas to everybody, and yeah, I appreciate all your thoughtness that you do for me to me, CJ.
Oh, no problem. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy your Christmas Monday, and tell Josh I said hi in 4 minutes.
I will do.
We can take a quick break, and coming up next is something I'm very excited about. We had the opportunity to do almost a Donnybrook-esque style roundtable with the board of directors of Hayner Library, where we really get to see all the amazing resources that are at our local library. Luis, Hayner Library is a door to possibility, and coming up right after this short break, you'll find out just how important it is and how amazing of a resource we have right here in the heart of the 618. Oh, man, I hit the wrong button.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
RiverBender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBender.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
RiverBender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBenderRadio.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ. us playing live as you're opening presents, getting ready for the family to come over, or you're getting ready to travel yourself. When I think about Christmas, I think about community. And we have a wonderful one, from the community Christmas tree lighting, the Red Kettle campaigns, the amazing work that's done with Community Christmas. There's so much here to be proud of. But when I also think of community, I think of our public library. Because really, when I think of Hayner, I think of a door of opportunities that open and the resources that are available because of our library system. And today we're here with Ed, Amber, Kevin, and Kerry, and the executive director of Hayner Library, Mary Cordes, as we're having a little bit of a roundtable discussion. And right off the bat, how beautiful is this room? Let's just start off with that. Whenever you walk in here, does it ever get old?
Oh,
no.
Hardly.
No. When you walk into this room, it just takes your breath away every time. You walk in and it's like, wow.
It's so warm and welcoming.
It is. It's like your home. And you walk in here and you immediately feel comfortable. Immediately.
100%. And then I was talking to Lacey McDonald before we started taping today, and I thought this would be the mecca for Christmas card photos, for family photos in general. And why no one else is here getting ready to snap a picture, I don't know. But I think once we air this broadcast and you see this backdrop, this is the place to be, and it's decorated beautifully. And what I was also told, which I think is cool, Renee actually handmade and hand-designed these stockings that are right behind us, so a personal touch in here too. But I'd be remiss not to talk about the beautiful picture the library owns that's on top of us, right over above us, and that's the Frederick O. Sylvester. What do we call this? The triptych?
The triptych. Frederick Oak Sylvester was a very talented, well-educated artist in the St. Louis area. He was the first artist teacher at Principia College, #1. And he taught there until he died, and then Catherine Cherry took his place. This triptych here, I think, is one of the best Frederick Oak Sylvesters in existence. It's a triptych, it's 3 sides, the 2 ends frame in the centerpiece, and it's painted right here in our bluffs.
Well, it's just beautiful. And
it's spectacular.
Well, and you look at the depth, and you look at all the little nuances in it, all the detail that goes into this. And whenever I looked at this fireplace, just beautiful, I see this triptych, and I just go, wow, welcome home, like you said, Kevin. This is the living room.
Yeah.
And as we talk about just Christmas as a whole, I got to ask all of you the same question. My only softball really is, what's your Christmas traditions within the Riverbend region, within the Hayner Library District region? What do you guys like to do for your Christmas traditions? Kevin, we'll start with you.
Oh boy, that's a good question. It's family. It's we get together every Christmas Eve, and we have a cookout basically, or actually cook-in. It's cold, but we just cook a lot of snacky foods. Everybody sits around and have the fireplace going, and we talk and tell stories and play games and. Hollywood you think about seeing on TV, but that's really what we do. And it's just fun watching the kids too. When our kids were little, all my kids are grown now, but you still think about when they were really little, the excitement they had on Christmas, and that Christmas Eve really built that up. And then trying to get them to go to bed, and what we have to do to get them to go to bed so we can put out the toys and stuff for them. So it was really it's just fun. The Christmas Eve is what everybody thinks about.
100%. And speaking of Christmas Eve, just real briefly, my grandpa, who owns Riggin Sewer Service, my uncle owns it now, my grandma would sit by the fireplace and look at all of us. I'm going to shoot Santa when he comes down the chimney. And I am telling you what, every kid prayed that night that Santa made it to their house first.
Actually, CJ, one Christmas Eve, I took a piece of felt and I opened the fireplace up, put it on one of the log holder spikes, and then when the kids came down in the morning, they found it and they thought Santa snagged his pants on the as he went back up the chimney. So
that's incredible. Yeah. And Kerry, take me through your Christmas.
Well, I have one sibling, sister 2 years older than I am, and we had a lovely living room with a mantle and a fireplace and a chimney and all that, and we were 5 and 7 maybe, and we're just being brothers and sisters fighting and carrying on, and my mother kept saying, if you two don't straighten up, you'll get coal in your stocking. Well, we had our embroidered stocking hung with care on the mantelpiece this Christmas morning. My sister, we emptied out the stockings, and there were these nice little round boxes with a little red bow on them, and every one of them had a charcoal briquette in it.
Well deserved.
Well deserved.
I'm sure.
You can't win them all, Kerry. Mary, take me through some of your traditions.
Well, I have a lot of sisters, so ours is mostly based around family. Same thing. We usually go to church on Christmas Eve, and then we have our family Christmas the next day all together. And as we've gotten older and our families have expanded, we've brought in our in-laws and my husband's family, and we spend time with them. So ours is family-based for sure.
Really cool. And on top of Christian Hill in that neighborhood, that's beautiful.
Yes, so we do the Christmas tree burning after Christmas for Epiphany, and we have a lot of neighborhood things going on, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And we talk about Alton traditions. Our good friend, late Mary Lou Cowsley, she started, I believe, the Christmas tree burning in the sunken garden there off of Bellevue. Mm-hmm. And that was an annual tradition for years and years and years. It's still going on today. Yeah, it's still going on.
Wow. Not in the same place, though, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Same exact place?
Sunken garden.
But we spent a lot of time planning
No, not right there.
that circle out.
No, not in the actual garden.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
A lot of time in that garden.
It's like, oh my God.
We spent a lot of time digging in the dirt there, getting that prepped up. It was on the garden tour this summer.
Yes, it was.
Very well attended.
Really
It's
good.
beautiful.
It really is beautiful.
Christian Hill is beautiful.
It is. And well, all of this is beautiful. And I think to have a library that looks just as beautiful as our neighborhoods, I think that's a big incentive to have, because not all libraries have the luxury to have this architecture and design put into, and the love that's in each and every one of the woodwork pieces. And Amber, as we're kind of circling back down the horseshoe here, take us through some of your Christmas traditions with your family.
I still enjoy going to see the Christmas lights.
Rock Springs?
Yes.
Grandpa Gang is a phenomenon.
Yes.
So every year we still drive to the Christmas lights. And then on Christmas Eve, we like to make candy and treats. And then, so mostly my family gets together on Christmas Eve with the kids and make we make homemade Reese's cups with crackers and peanut butter, and you dip it in chocolate. That's my favorite. I'm a peanut butter girl. And then we still open presents on Christmas. Santa still comes to our house, and we open presents on Christmas.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Really
cool. Amber's nothing.
I know what I'm saying. I'm not still any recipe secrets out for our audience this morning. Ed, take me through your Christmas tradition, sir.
Christmas is always a wonderful time of the year. I'm the oldest of 11. We would have, after Santa Claus came, oldest of 11, my grandparents would join us for the opening of the presents, preferably after 5 a.m. My folks had their hands full with the gifts for everyone. One year, my mother, God bless her, she fell asleep stuffing the stockings, and my youngest sister, I was in college when she was born, came down early and found Mom with her hand in her stocking, thought she was stealing out of her stocking.
That's amazing.
And she was crying. And my wife and I, Patty, God love her, lived on Prospect Street for over 40 years in Christian Hill. And the Hayner Library and St. Peter's and Paul's Catholic Church are the two anchors in Christian Hill. And Mr. Jim Beamer, our best friend, one Christmas, he called me about 10 o'clock at night. He said, "Eddie, you got your bikes put together yet?" I said, "No, not yet." He said, "They're really hard. I better come down and help you." So he came down and put our bikes for our kids together, and went home to get his together. And the next morning, his daughter was crying because Santa Claus brought her bike with the handlebars on backwards. But our Christian Hill area with the lights on and our church and the love and the atmosphere that goes on, there's just no better place in the world.
And I've said that before, and even before I came back to RiverBender to the area to do the show, I've always said the most beautiful, picturesque
Christmas setting is driving State Street Hill, driving down Christian Hill and seeing the river and seeing, especially when it snows, and seeing that and all the church and then the library. And as we're kind of circling back, touching on the library, it's been a big year for Hayner. We have a new executive director in Mary. And Mary, out of the entire year, did you ever think that your career when you started here at Hayner decades ago would lead you to this point?
No, 100% no. No, I started as a part-time job. My grandmother's best friend was a librarian here. She was also a school librarian. And a part-time job came open, and she said, you like to read and you come to the library a lot, you should apply. I thought, I'll be here for 2 years, I'll leave, I'll go away to college, and I stayed and went through school here and just love it. Yeah.
Nice.
Never thought I would be here this long.
Well, and as we're talking about the new executive director position, as board members, when you guys were seeing all the qualified candidates, I'm sure there were tons of folks that were capable of the job. What had Mary stick out with her qualities? Because there's a experience, there's a lot of great growth. For all of you, what did you look for whenever you made that decision?
I think the decision was made easy for us.
Yep.
Because
Yes.
we knew Mary.
Mhm.
And when Bernadette told me that she was going to retire, and we started talking about, who was going to replace Bernadette, who was the former director, it was like, oh, this is easy, Mary. And so it really was an easy decision to make for us. And even though we did have other candidates, and we interviewed other candidates, there was just no doubt about it. Mary's experience, Mary's, what she's brought to the library over the years, her enthusiasm, and it was just, we knew this was the right choice. It was just, there was no decision there. It was made for us. And I have to tell you, Mary's hit the road running. She has done a fantastic job.
Yes.
She makes our job a lot easier. In fact, CJ, this library runs seamlessly. Publicly, that's the way it looks.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, there's a lot of things going on. But that's all done because of Mary and the way and her leadership style. Mary is not afraid, and she does it on a regular basis. She's at the cert desk helping. And so, if we're short-staffed that day, somebody's at lunch, whatever, Mary's behind the desk. And that's one of the qualities we liked about Mary, is she wasn't going to be the director that just sat in her office. Mary's out. She's engaged with our patrons every day. And that's just a really important quality for the director.
100%. And as we're, kind of talking about that and being active, and one thing that we decided to do with this show segment was talk about the behind the scenes, because you're absolutely right. When Mary came in the first time, this is true, she comes in, we were talking about the library of things, and then all of a sudden it opened up the database, this door of how much more you guys had to offer, like the collections, the databases, the resource guides even. And to me, whenever we started talking about that, I went, every young person in the city of Alton needs to know about this information, because they have something that's available to them that is actually going to help them and actually give them so many more benefits, like ad-free streaming with a library card. Plus, like you said, when you have a director, hey, if I'm going to ask you to do something, I've done it 10 billion times before you have, and I'll do it again. I think that's a huge tribute of Mary, and also just that director position, as you said, Kevin.
Yeah, I agree. Our staff is first rate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody could ask for a better staff than what we have. So they make the rest of us look good. When our patrons come in, they're there to help, immediately to help. They always have a smile on their face. They don't know the word no. It's what can I do to help? And that's exactly what they do. They help our patrons, no matter what it is. Lacey does a lot.
Wonderful.
And her staff does a lot to help a lot of different organizations. It's kind of funny. You can sit down and watch TV. You can watch some type of historical program, and then you watch the credits and find out one of the organizations getting credit for that program is the Hayner Public Library District.
That's just wonderful. That's just wonderful.
We ought to bring Lacey on.
Well, and that's something when Ed, just on top of that, when we've had the opportunity to talk with Lacey and then Kerry in studio talking about vintage voices a couple of months ago, just to hear the wealth of knowledge without any notes, really. I mean, maybe some bullet points, but to really have somebody that's well-versed, knowledgeable, and especially a board member too, with you being Kerry, I think it's a huge incentive really for all of us to utilize this resource because the people here know. It's not just, oh, okay, let me take care of that for you. Let's use the Google machine and come back with an answer. No, it's boots on the ground, and we've done this, we live it, and we have an answer for you.
You're right.
You got it.
I agree that the staff is phenomenal, and the board itself is very broad-based. All the members bring individual talents and expertise. Ed Morrissey just recently joined. He's got a career in construction, and I'm the local historian, genealogist. I've spent many hours down here at Hayner with Lacey and the staff doing research and things. Amber is a school teacher, educator, and I believe you worked here
I
at
did.
one time.
Did you?
Yeah,
Yes.
Amber.
Wow.
Here.
Hold on, well, if it's okay, what time?
Go.
When did you start working here?
2011,
Nice.
How long of a tenure did you have?
about 4 years.
And was there things that you've learned and took away from working at Hayner that helped translate over to your job with working with the children?
Absolutely. And I still use so many of the resources in my professional and personal life. So we have a lot of online resources that I think people may not know about. I mean, from the research databases down to the, is it Critterbug or what's
Creative Bug.
Creative Bug? I'm
Yep.
sorry. So I was looking for parent Christmas gifts and I got on Creative Bug, you know, and it has like the videos and the tutorials of what you need. Yep. There's all free online ebooks. I have my kids do research with those, and I use the audiobooks a lot, Libby and the Cloud Library in my personal life. You know, I'm so busy, and I love reading, but I can have my AirPods in listening to a book for free on Libby while I'm doing things around the house.
Nice.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That's
and
awesome.
Tying back in, just as you were talking about, Kerry spending a lot of time, down here in the library and talking about the kids too. Just bringing them all together. We had the opportunity to talk to Megan Dees the other day, correct? Mm-hmm. To hear about the kid space and the teen space, I think this is so big that I really hope every kid knows that you have a real safe space here where you can practice critical thinking skills and these really crucial learning skills that really aren't being taught a lot in other entities. But to have this, when we were talking about the teen space and hearing about the Crime Stoppers where you're trying to figure out a murder or whatever shenanigan happens, who cut CJ's mullet? That's next. There's things like that, right? But also the kid space. Whenever I'm looking on Hayner's Library's Facebook page, we're seeing story times for younger parents that might not have all the resources to go take their child over to St. Louis or up to Edwardsville or you name it, to have an opportunity just to go outside of your house. Try something new. Have fun with your family. Know that your kids are safe. That's crucial, I think, and especially what the library has to offer. It's a huge bonus to our community.
Well, my experience with the library started, I grew up on Brentwood Boulevard and between Albee and North Henry, and originally it was a dead-end street, and they had a little turnaround there, and when I was 4 or 5 years old, and all of a sudden I heard this big racket outside. I looked out the window, and here comes the bookmobile. And I said, Mom, what's that? Okay, well, your old doesn't get a library card, so she took me out, and that bookmobile came once a week, and just like clockwork.
Nice.
And wonderful, wonderful resource, and that got me hooked.
And we still,
when I was a kid, this is back in the 60s, my mom gave me a library card because the bookmobile came down to our street every week, parked at the end of the street. We'd walk up, go through the bookmobile, get a book, take her book back. And you really look forward to the bookmobile coming by your neighborhood. Absolutely.
When did the bookmobile start slowing down?
It was the 80s.
It was late 80s.
I
Late
remember
80s,
it
early 90s.
as a child. I remember it too.
The bookmobile was old, needed to be replaced. We looked at the cost, and we made the decision not to replace the bookmobile. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, remember that we already had a facility at Alton Square. But we also thought, the community still needs more than just the buildings.
True.
And so Stephanie Munson, who worked here for forever, she came up with the program for homebound. And so we we took books out to people's homes. So literally took them out to their homes. We took them to hospitals, to the nursing home. So our homebound community and others, and you didn't have to be older. It could be a mom that can't go to the house because of having little kids.
Yeah.
And so Stephanie would pack up her vehicle, and she would take those books to people's homes into the hospital.
Well, and we still do that.
Do you still do that?
We still have the homebound program, and it's for anybody that is permanently or even temporarily unable to get to the library. We will do a delivery service still.
How important is it, in your guys' opinions, all of your perspectives here, to know, for the community to know that no matter what, Hayner's going to be there for you whenever they can be, and this resource will be there for you, regardless of a disability, regardless of, whether or not maybe there's some potholes in the street, or maybe there's some type of transportation issue, or maybe it's financial, those resources aren't there. How important is it for all of you when it comes to that question alone, for the community to know we're here?
Well, I think one of the things this board is really concentrating on is outreach, expansion. We started a pop-up program out at the Foster Township Hall, because the Hayner Library District encompasses basically Godfrey, Alton, and Foster Townships. And so a good part of our patrons live out in the Foster Township area, and so that was a way we thought maybe could reach out to those folks out there in that part of the district to offer our services.
I'm sorry, go ahead,
Oh, no, I just was going to say, and that was successful. I think we're going to do it again next summer. We did it this summer as a pilot program, and I think we're going to expand it next summer as well, and reach out to Foster Township residents too.
I think it's very important. Actually, we do so many other things too. Because if you go out to the Nature Institute, we have along the trail, there's placards that are about different issues and stuff. So we're really trying to get information out to the people and in their different environments as well. So it's very important that we're here for the people of the community. That's why this library was created. That's why John Hayner gave this building to the library, as a memorial to his wife, Jenny D. And so we're living that legacy of John Hayner and Jenny D. Hayner.
And I'm sorry, Kerry, but I also, as they were talking about getting out in the community, if anyone wants us to come out and talk about the services and the programs that we offer and the collections we offer, I'm always happy to do that. So if you want, you're looking for a speaker or someone to come and talk at your local group or organization, we'd be happy to do that, and people can just give me a call.
Mary spoke at the North Alton Godfrey Businesses Association last month, and my God, I'm a newbie on the board, but all the things that Hayner provides, it took her at least 5 minutes. What a great presentation.
It was, and that was at Roper's, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Ed, you're right, because we were sitting there, and Kevin, were you at the meeting too?
I missed that meeting.
On and on and on.
I couldn't believe it. I was sitting back there, and I forgot who I was talking with at the time, but I went, is there a pause here?
No, I was trying to roll through everything we did, and they said you have 10 minutes, and I thought, all right, and I have my bullet points.
Good job, hon.
So, yeah.
Well, let's hear your bullet points.
Yeah.
And Amber, for you, what's it like for the community to know that Hayner is there for them as a resource? Is it, in your opinion, is it important for the kids and anybody, no matter their age, to know that they have this resource?
It's very important to me. I am a lifelong reader. I loved reading then. I love reading now. I remember my first memory of the library is when this was the children's library.
Yep.
The desk was back there, and then I just remember having my Matilda moment when my mom gave me my card, and I was so tiny, and she's like, well, you can go check them out yourself. So, I believe that reading and literacy, this is the teacher in me, is so very important, and the library seeks to find ways that are engaging for young kids, like the summer reading program, and like you mentioned, all the activities that they do with Teen Space, and the other activities in Kid Space for from birth, essentially the story times and the other programs that they have. It's also important to me.
There you go. And with that being said, too, I think it's really unique to have the perspectives of different individuals throughout the community. A teacher, someone in the construction trade, and then Kerry, a historian, and everything that you've been able to accomplish, and Kevin in the real estate field and everything else that you've been a part of. To have all these different perspectives, I think is needed to really have the best library district we can have. And how many people are on the board total?
7 people.
7.
We have 7 board members.
And with that being said, how long have your tenure's been on the board? Ed, I'll start with you. You're the newest one on the total.
Yeah, I'm a newbie.
How long have you been on the board?
I was elected this spring.
This spring, so about 6 months now.
About that, yeah.
Awesome. And Amber, how long have you been on the board?
About 2 years.
Really cool. And Kerry?
Well, lifelong, politically active person, worked for the county for 30 years. And the one thing that used to make my blood boil was when I pick up the paper and look at the sample ballot and a position that says no candidate filed. And so I happened to pick up, and there was a unexpired term, no candidate filed. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. And I called Kevin, and I've known Kevin since Boy Scouts. And he said, you'd be good. So
yeah.
I went over to Edwardsville, and to run as a write-in candidate in Illinois, you have to fill out a statement of candidacy and file it at the county clerk's office in order for any write-in votes to count. So that eliminates the Mickey Mouses and the Donald Ducks and all that.
The Colonel Sanders, yeah.
Santa Claus.
The CJ
Santa Claus.
So it's 15 minutes before the deadline, and I thought, if somebody else shows up, that's fine. Well, nobody showed up, so I'm filling out the paperwork, and Debbie Ming Mendoza, the county clerk, and formerly the assessor who I worked with, she walked up to the counter. She was like, she's not hiding in her office. She's out there at the desk, working the counter, talking to people. Mm-hmm. And so she comes, she goes, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm filling out my statement of write-in candidacy for the Hayner Library board. And she goes, you'd be good at that. And I said, well, now, I know that some offices require a minimum amount of votes. What about the Hayner district rule? She said, she said, this is a big if you could fill in the circle and spell your own name correctly, you win.
It seems like you did.
So I rolled up a spectacular 72 vote margin.
That's awesome.
And the first election ever won.
And how long ago was that, Kerry?
Well, that was 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
You're a newbie too.
Yeah. So when I was talking to our friend Donnie Huber, I said, I'm going to run as a write-in for the library board. And he said, the library board? Don't you have to know how to read to be on the library board? I said, all these rules. But Donnie, I didn't know what to expect, but it's been an absolute pleasure. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
No, and Donnie, that's definitely probably exactly what he said too.
And when I do I've also been working, I got called out of retirement to work as a tour guide for the cruise ships. Mm-hmm. And I always talk about, Alton and things, and we were going through Upper Alton. It's a Carnegie Library. We all know Andrew Carnegie, late in life, decided to give away all his money to atone for some of his past indiscretions. So he come in, and they built a library. Well, that was Upper Alton was a separate village at the time. Well, he came to Alton, and he made a presentation to the fathers and city fathers, and he said, I'll pay for the building, but then you'll have to levy a small tax to maintain it. And John Hayner says, no, we won't. I've endowed the library, and I'm not going to saddle the tax, the property owners here with the tax. And so he turned down. So the city of Alton, as far as I know, is the only town in the country that turned down a Carnegie Library.
Really?
Wow.
That's interesting. I didn't know that, Kerry.
Wow. That's really fascinating.
I think the library at Churchill College is a Carnegie Library.
Yes, it is.
But we did turn that down.
Wow. And Kevin, we were talking before we hit record today, and we got going here. You've been on the board for how long?
36 years.
Wow. So a couple of questions come to mind is the changes that you've been able to witness over 3 decades plus. And number one, but number two is, how did you find yourself in that role?
Well, it's kind of interesting. The first thing is the changes I've seen have been huge. Mm-hmm. The building across the street was a Tri-City grocery store. And it looked like a Tri-City grocery store. Okay, so in the 90s, we actually took that building down to just the exterior walls. Everything was taken out. That building was completely rebuilt. It was stone, concrete on the outside, it was brick. And so that building was really made into a modern building. This building was completely renovated for the first time.
Wow.
And in addition, where the alcove is now, that was added. The alcove was there, but there's an addition with bathrooms there. That wasn't there, and the alcove was open, so we enclosed all of that. The library at the mall was just a little, couple thousand square feet, and that has grown now to over 18,000 square feet. And so,
I didn't realize it was that big.
yeah,
Yeah, huge.
There are a lot of changes that have been made over those years. I've worked with a lot of great board members, Susan Huber and Susan's mother, Sarah Huber, were both on the board. Worked with about 3 or 4 directors. So
Jody Morrissey.
Jody Morrissey was on the library board.
Nancy DeGrand.
Nancy DeGrand. And all these board members brought a unique perspective to the board. I actually got on the board kind of like Kerry. I read in the newspaper that there was an opening that the library was, seeking people to run for trustee. So I took out a petition. I wasn't a write-in candidate, Kerry. I took out a petition and ran, and I won. And so I was surprised. People actually voted for me. And after I won the election, there had been a resignation on the board. And the person that I beat was appointed to fill that vacancy. What I didn't know at the time, that vacancy was my Uncle Bill. They lived down the street from Ed Morrissey on Prospect.
Yes.
Yeah, the Barbush
He
house.
had built a new house outside the district, he and Norma, and so he resigned from the board. I knew when I was a kid that he was on the board because he actually was on the board when the district was created. And so he served on that board until he resigned, and then, unbeknownst to me, I ended up getting his seat.
When was the district created? Can we piggyback off of that real quick? Do we know?
Yeah, it was 50 years ago last year, I believe. Yeah, so as a district.
As a
Formal
district.
Yes.
So yeah, there was a referendum put on the ballot, and the voters got to vote yay or nay, and they voted yay to create an actual public library district, which is a local unit of local government. So you do levy a very small property tax to help fund the operations. But before that, it was maintained and operated by the Jenny D. Hayner Association, and they are still in existence as a foundation. And they are also another hidden asset and a hidden jewel that we have, that they help us out a lot on various things, various programs. And
I want to talk about some of those hidden resources a little bit more in a second, but I also think it would be really cool if we could talk about how the layout and how the format of your board meetings work. Because for so many of us watching from home today, this might be the first time we're learning about, the Hayner Board of Directors. And with that, what do your meetings look like, and how often do you meet?
Well, we meet every month.
Okay.
Our meetings are open to the public. At the beginning of the meeting, the public has the opportunity to speak. There is a limitation on that time frame, but they have the opportunity to speak. And then the board, we have committees, and then throughout the month, the committees meet as needed, and the committees really do the behind the scenes work. They're doing right now we're looking at this building and some upgrades to this building, specifically on the outside. And so the building and equipment committee, which Ed is on,
And Kerry. Kerry's the chairman.
the third member is David Cowsley,
Who's an architect.
And
very engaged.
And so our committees do that work. They bring that to the board with a report to say, we've done this work, we've identified this is the solution, and then we talk about it. Our board meetings and our board is very comfortable with speaking freely. We want that. We don't want people that are just going to agree with us.
Right.
So we want those difference of opinions. It helps us make better decisions. And then we make a decision. And then we move forward. And so we have Mary gives her report at the end of that meeting. And so I hope it's a very well-ran meeting. They run about 30 minutes or so. Usually the duration, maybe a little bit more, depends on how much Kerry talks. But yeah, we're there for the people, and I hope it's a really well ran board, and we have the right people on the board, I think, right now. And we've been very fortunate during the entire district. I think we've always had the right people at the right time.
And as a unit of local government, we're subject to the Open Meetings Act, and also all the agendas, the minutes are all available online on the library website. So if the folks are interested in how the nuts and bolts operates, they can go and read when the upcoming meeting is, what's on the agenda, the minutes from the prior meeting. We also look over. We have the financial reports, and we monthly go over. We make sure where we're at with the budget and how the money is being spent.
Yep, and it's the fourth Friday of the month at 5:30. And it's I'm sorry, I said Friday, the fourth Thursday of the month.
Come on, Mary.
I know. It's been a long day, Ed. And we meet usually at Alton Square, but in our upper level performance room. But our agenda is always on the website, and you can always see the location and the time and the date.
Well, that's something else. In addition to where the actual library is at the mall, we also have another space that we utilize.
We do. We have upstairs, we have a performance room at Alton Square Mall, and that's where we have our adult programming, our teen programming, and some of our children's programming. So we have a lot of our summer reading program. It's a large room. We're able to have lots of activities, room for the kids to move around and play, and that's where we have the vast majority of our programs.
Well, and that's a huge thing too, as we're kind of tying everything in together, is the different locations and the way that you all utilize those locations. I think that's huge, just the way that it's structured, because it would be easy to have a performance here. It's a beautiful building with a high ceiling. You could have some nice sound in here, but to have that space at Alton Square Mall to truly be your own, or if it's a Jared Hennings performance from Lewis and Clark, all the way down to Steve Davis coming in as Elvis and singing for us, I think it's important to have those different locations. And is the idea now where we're at with the number of locations in terms of size, distance between each other? Are we happy as a group?
Well, right now we have a long-range planning committee that is working on a vision for the library district, as well as the library board as a whole is now meeting as a committee of the whole to look at what do we think the future is. What you see today is something that has been accumulated over 30 years. And now we need to step back. We need to look at this. Our community has changed. Our community has grown. Are all of our facilities in the right location? Is everybody in the community being served the way they should? And we're looking at that now. We're trying to make those decisions. What do we need to do in the future? This building will always be here, okay? Will always be here. But, and I'm not saying other buildings won't be here, but we're looking at those now to say, do we need another facility? Do we need, instead of one big facility, do we need a few smaller facilities? What do we really need? And we're going to look at that over the next year. Our lease at the mall is up in 5 years. And so we have some decisions to make between now and then. And I don't know what those decisions will be. We will be involving the community in those decisions.
Really good.
And so, but we're just trying to make that decision now, and it's going to be a lot of work. But I know our board's up to it.
Well, and the demise of the bookmobile kind of tied in with the beginning of the internet, and the brick and mortar situation versus what's available online. How do we keep ourselves relevant? How do we make these programs available to the folks? And basically, what's the consumer wanting, and how can we provide those needs to the consumer, our patrons?
And Kerry, you're right. Because if you think about the library today, historically we think of the library as books. But right now we have 20 laptops and the hotspots that you can check out. So if you're somebody that maybe you're going back to school, or if you're in school, a kid in school, and you need a laptop and don't have one, there's a laptop here. There's hotspots that can be checked out. There is other things that can be checked out, household tools that you can check out. You think about if you go to Lowe's and you want to buy a new saw, you go to St. Pete's and you want to buy, a new whatever, and look at the cost, you think, wow, I'm going to have to spend $200 for that. or you can come down to the library and check it out.
Exactly. That's my favorite additions, the library of things. I'm telling you what, I think this is the coolest thing ever.
Yep.
So you can test drive it.
CJ just woke up.
Well, the thing is, I mean, as somebody that, you know, when I'm in school, I had all these projects, and the honors classes, they have all these projects. You have to make things, you got to do these demonstrations, and by the time you go to Walmart, you get home, you take it into school, well, you only needed it that one time. Now you got to go and try to return it and fight the customer service line. Good luck. You don't have to worry about that anymore. And it's the library being there for the individual yet again. And I think that's a huge component to Hayner Library.
Yeah, that's how the Library of Things started. We started having patrons ask us, do you have this? Can I borrow that? Started with projectors. Do you have microphones? Do you have, mostly at the beginning it was electronic equipment, and we didn't. And we thought, well, there's a need for it. Let's get it. So we started getting it. And then it was, well, what else can we add? What else might people want? And so now we have everything from projectors and microphones and speakers, loudspeakers, all the way to baking kits,
bread
stand
makers.
mixer, bread maker, a moving kit.
Fishing equipment.
Fishing poles.
Telescopes.
Oh, the telescopes are
laptops,
wonderful.
hotspots,
Yeah.
Wi-Fi,
Podcasting
ghost hunting
equipment.
kit, podcasting equipment, baking, you
Recording
name it, we've got it.
studios.
And we're getting ready to start adding more items in the spring. We're going to add another round of materials, toolkits, car equipment, a fish finder. I mean, you name it, we've
I want
got
that.
it. And we have
Fish finder might not make it to the library of things.
If you go to our website at HaynerLibrary.org, and there's at the top of the page, there's a library of things. You can click on it, and it lists everything that we have and which location you can check it out from.
And what's that address again, Mary?
HaynerLibrary.org.
Pardon me?
HaynerLibrary.org.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So why don't we do this? I know that we've been talking for a little bit. Why don't we take a quick pause here? As we come back, we'll take a quick break, and all of a sudden when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more, and then we'll wrap up our Christmas morning, because I'm sure that you guys are ready to go to church if you haven't made it there already, or you just want to sit there, mix and mingle, and let the bells jingle. We'll take a quick break. The Christmas morning show of our daily show continues from Hayner Library right after this. Is it time to buy, sell, or even time to consider a short sale of your property? Meet Lisa Webb, owner of 3rd Street Realty. This local, women-owned, family-operated realty group has over a decade of experience in foreclosures, first-time home buying, and so much more. 3rd Street Realty prides themselves on holding your hand through the entire process. Let their expertise guide you to your dream home. Visit 3rdstrealty.com and start your journey with Lisa Webb today.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet, I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trumped. I've got a Linux.
So do I.
Barrett Heating and Cooling carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call Barrett Heating and Cooling and start saving today.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
Welcome to Evergreen Place, a community that embodies joyful living, independence, and financial freedom for seniors. If you're looking for a full day of activities or to relax in your apartment, we have you covered. Located on the Alton Memorial Campus. To know us is to love us. Experience the difference at Evergreen Place.
Life's better when you're under our roof. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto and home coverage at the right price. Also, you can enjoy the dreams you worked so hard to achieve. American Family Insurance.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
When life throws unexpected challenges your way, you need a versatile legal ally to protect you. Sean Lentz, with over 12 years of experience, is here to help you in a variety of avenues. From personal injury to criminal defense and even semi-truck accidents, Sean Lentz has your back. Don't wait for the justice that you deserve. Call 618-465-8000 and see how Sean can help you today. Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ. Christmas morning continues right here on State Street Hill at the Genealogy and Local History Library, a part of our Hayner Public Library District, for a fantastic roundtable. I've had some fun so far, and what I think's even better, cat's out of the bag. We're all watching ourselves from home today. You know, as we're coming back, and we're just kind of wrapping this Monday morning up, this Christmas morning, I wanted to make sure we focus on a few of the things that we needed to get across. And before I do that, we started the conversation talking about this beautiful picture above us. But let's talk about, Kerry, the arts collection that Hayner Library does have.
They have an extensive collection of local artists and local, regional, and national artists, as a matter of fact. Many of these artists I knew back in the day when I was on the board of the Alton Area Landmarks. We started, as a fundraising, we started having art fairs down here on 3rd Street. And a lot of these artists were alive at the time, and they would have a booth selling their wares and things, you know, Peg Weber and Holscher, Orville Holscher, and Ruth Means, who's the most beloved, well-known, you know, Alton history artist, and many of those. And we also have a letter from Abraham Lincoln, and Mary, why don't you kind of tell us what's planned for that?
Yeah, so we do own a letter that was written by Abraham Lincoln to Simeon Ryder, who owned the building that is now My Just Desserts on Broadway. And so we decided that's in our collection, and it sits in our safe deposit box. But we thought, you know, it belongs to the people of the district. We want everybody to be able to see it. And it's a neat piece of history. So we've decided to bring that out on February 17th. It'll be in the newsletter, and the newsletter will be coming to everyone's home shortly. But you can come to this building at 401 State Street. We will have the Lincoln letter out for display that morning, or actually that day. And patrons can come by and take a look at this piece of history that belongs to us here in the district. And we'll also have some other activities for people that day, and we'll have some china that belonged to Mary Todd Lincoln that we also have in the collection. That'll be on display. And then we'll also be having a historian who's going to be coming at 10 o'clock that day to talk about Lincoln and Alton. So we're kind of making a day of it, and it's a way for people to come and view this beautiful building, view this piece of history that we all own as a district, and we thought it would be fun to share that with everyone.
And we'll make sure, regardless, to fill everybody in as we lead closer and closer to the 17th of February, because everybody in this community, in this district, will know about it. That's my goal, Mary. This is really cool.
It's really neat.
And that letter has not been on display.
Ever?
Ever.
The letters ever be on public display.
I felt like it was really important for everybody to be able to see it. I think it's neat. I'm a history person, and I think it's a neat piece of history that we own that's unique to our district, and I thought we should share it. So
That's just wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And whenever I hear that, I mean, to me, the way you just talked about it was like, well, yeah, we've seen it here every day. It's in our safe deposit box. But to really have those, artifacts, and that's exactly what they are. That's another reason to stop by Hayner Library and see what's happening here. Whenever I was walking in, you see the printing press or one of the pieces of Elijah Lovejoy's printing press, and that's what welcomes you into Hayner. It's the history. And I don't think our community understands truly how historic our town is. I mean, there was a lot of important decisions made, a lot of important people that lived and strolled right on these streets.
Well, it was platted in 1818 by Colonel Rufus Easton, who was a land investor from St. Louis, but it was incorporated as a town, and you got your incorporation papers from the General Assembly in Vandalia at the time, and Alton was incorporated in January of 1837. We had 2,000 people. Later on that year, some burg called Chicago got their charter, and they had 200 people.
Really?
Because Illinois was settled from the south north.
Oh, yep.
They came down the Ohio River, they came up the Mississippi, and so they would start in southern Illinois and work their way up.
Fascinating.
And what's neat is we actually have, if anybody's interested, we have the newspapers from 1836 that have been digitized, and those are available to view on our website or here at the library too. So we also have a piece of our history digitized for everybody to look at. We also have a lot of our Bob Grawl photos from the Telegraph. So we have the last how many years worth of history in photographs digitized that people can look at through our website as well. So we try to take our history very seriously, digitize it, and make it accessible to everyone.
And this has been an ongoing program of digitizing whatever we can find.
Well, just the mobile memory lab that was just here a
Right.
couple of weeks ago. That was a huge success, it seems like. And as we're wrapping up, I want to make sure the floor is open for everybody. Is there anything that you all specifically would like to point out or address before we say Merry Christmas for now?
Well, I just want to thank all of our patrons for coming in every day and supporting the library. And we've, over the years, Amber, you know this from working here, we've made a lot of friends. The staff really loves talking with our patrons and having our patrons in. We have some really great people who come in, and we're always our door is always open. We always hope that people will come and check it out. And we have our regulars who come all the time. But it's really exciting when somebody walks through the door who's never been here before and says, I didn't know you guys had all this. And that kind of makes it worthwhile. And we hope that every day we get more people that come in and say that. So,
absolutely.
CJ, I'd like to, once again, thank our community, our patrons that come in every day, but also our staff.
Yes.
Yep.
We have the best staff, and, they go above and beyond. Our board members go above and beyond, and I don't think we say thank you enough to them, but I think this time of the year is a really great time to say thank you, and we hope each and every one of them have a very Merry Christmas and a spectacular New Year.
Absolutely. And, on top of that, too, the volunteers, every time, Kevin, just like what you said, the volunteers that are coming in here, and just like they're a 9 to 5 or a full-time worker, that's what I think makes it so special, too, is everybody, whether you're sitting at the table, you're watching from your table at home, everyone that's a part of the library pours their heart and soul into the library, because we all know how important this is.
And one group we haven't talked about, and that's the Friends. Our friends of the library do a fantastic job. Every Monday, they're here. We own the building across the street where the Friends meet. Friends is a separate organization, but they meet every Monday. They collect books from the community. People leave the books out there when they're cleaning out their homes and such. And they sell those books, and that money comes back to the library district to help us and help our programs. And everybody does a great job, and we really appreciate what the Friends do.
Well,
Carol Conley leads that group and does a fantastic job, and we really appreciate what they do, and I don't want them to be left out.
Yeah, I think we're kind of unique in the fact that we have such an active Friends of the Library, which is a separate entity, plus the Jenny D. Hayner Association that helps us as well. And I don't think there's another library in the state that has such similar programs to help them out.
and I know the Friends are always looking for volunteers too. They meet on every Monday, as Kevin said, every Monday, usually from 9:30 to 11:30, and they have a book sale every Monday as well. So anytime the friends are there on Mondays, you can come and buy books. And then they also have a book sale the first Saturday of the month from 9:30 to noon. So at the Friends Building at 327 State Street.
No, I knew they had them on Saturday. I didn't realize they had them on Monday
on Mondays,
as well.
that's when they take donations, and they also have the book sales the same day.
Okay.
That's incredible. And I'd be remiss.
Are you looking for a last-minute gift?
We know some people. With that being said, she's over there working hard, Lacey McDonald is, but without Lacey, too, in genealogy, I mean, spearheading the department and just doing some phenomenal work. So even though she's there with her head down, still researching for all of us, I think we'd be remiss not to shout her out and all of the contributions genealogy gives.
Yep. And all of our staff, like Kevin said, we have great staff, and we could not do this day in and day out without our staff. They're absolutely the best staff. They work hard. They know our patrons. They know what our patrons want, and they work hard.
Well, and the genealogy staff, they've been having some genealogy classes on the second and third Thursday mornings, I believe. And I mean, with Vintage Voices, and I know people who have come from out of town doing genealogy research. And I mean, if you come in and you've got a question they can't answer, this is like a dog with a bone. They're not going to let you leave till they find the answer to what you're looking for. Or tell you where to go to find it.
Yeah, and all of our departments are like that. Julie Belk works in our interlibrary loan department, which moves thousands of books a month.
That's something. Let's talk about it. If we don't have it, we can get it from some other library.
Our kids program, all of our managers, all of our workers, our circulation desk staff, everybody just does a really, really great job. And we're lucky to have them.
Before we say goodbye, one last question, and it could be a softball, it could be a hardball, depending on how you perceive it. If you could define Hayner Library in one word, what would it be?
Community.
Awesome.
I like community. It is community.
I'd just say phenomenal.
I would say service.
Very good.
There you go. Well, Kevin, Kerry, Mary, Ed, and Amber, thanks for hanging out with me today. I know I told all of you 30 minutes and I told Mary 30 minutes, but whenever we get to really sit down all together and talk about this, I hope all of you at home realize how crucial our library system is. And honestly, Amber, I'd say the same thing. Community. And when I think of Hayner and I think of Hayner today, I think of Christmas, because Christmas is about the community and Hayner is all about the community and all of you. So I hope if you haven't gotten your library cards yet, I highly encourage you to. And to join Mary and I on the first and last Monday of the month for another couple of months. And as we have fun in exploring everything that this library has to offer, it's not just a library, it's a resource and it's yours. So on that note, have a very Merry Christmas.
On three, Merry Christmas. 1, 2, 3, Merry Christmas!
And try your best to stay out of jail.
Oh my God.